This is David Sumrall with StopHate.com, and I have a very special guest today, and I'm excited to not only have her as a guest, but to make her acquaintance and call her a friend, and hopefully, become more of a friend to the family here. I think that we've already tried to establish our need and want to help your brother, but yeah, it's just an amazing day for me to have such a guest here. So without further ado, I guess everyone's familiar with General Flynn, Mike Flynn. Well, he has a sister, and yeah, this is one of those moments that somebody like me with a small little audience, a small little show, to be able to talk to somebody like this is one thing. To be able to call them a friend is another, and to be able to spend a weekend this coming week in Arizona together, at least a little bit of time, is going to be fantastic. So I guess you're not a Flynn anymore, though. You're Redgrave, is that right? Barbara Redgrave?
Yeah. It's I'm married to a retired naval aviator, and we went to high school together. And I've been married for over 36 years, and we have three grown daughters. One who is a Navy lieutenant commander. She's actually a doctor in the Navy. And then I have a second daughter. We have a second daughter. She was in the Navy, and then she got out of the Navy and is married to a Navy guy, an active duty Navy officer. And she's having a baby in a few weeks. And then my youngest, she works for one of the big hospitals. She's a IT administrator. So yeah, I'm Redgate now, but my husband, he went to high school with all of us. So it's like, we're from this town, Middletown, Newport, Rhode Island. And yeah, we all grew up together, just like General Mike and his wife, Lori, who have been together since middle school. So we're really all great friends. We were all lifeguards at the beach, and of course my husband was in the Navy too, as well. He was not Army like my brothers, but yeah. So yeah, my last name now is Redgate. But it's just when we created the Legal Defense Fund, I wanted to make sure that people didn't get confused. So I put my name as Barbara (Flynn) Redgate. Yes. I'm actually General Mike's older sister. There's 9 of us, and so these times like this, David, to talk to you, it's this great patriot family that has evolved, and it's really because we all rallied around the president and General Mike, and so we created these lifelong friendships. And I can't wait to see you guys in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's another patriot event. It's called the Patriot Party, and these events really bring us all together, where we can, keep each other motivated and just be so grateful that there's so many millions and millions of us out there. It's mind blowing, and luckily the Flynns and the Redgates have seen the love. We see all the letters and everything that General Mike received, so we know the size of the massive, following of patriots that the president has, that the fake news will never let the truth be out there. But you can see by the rallies, all you have to do is look at a rally for President Trump and a rally for Biden. Like there's really like the other day in Arizona, the lady, I don't know if anybody saw that newscaster, but she was out there. She was like, pretty much, there's nobody here. I mean, it's pathetic.
Nobody.
Fooling us.
Well, and that's one thing that I really appreciate hearing from you, because I think a lot of times as just people, citizens, and some activists, people that want to be active on the internet or whatever, we want to show our support for your brother, and we don't always know, because of the pressure, the media, that they don't show the whole story to anybody about anything. And we want to make sure that General Flynn's getting a message of support and love and encouragement, because we have his back. We understand what happened to him, and the whole fact that he's willing to take one for the team, and that's one thing. You touch on family, so let's talk about a little bit of your upbringing. You talk about a small town. At what age did you know that your brother was going to end up? I know when he goes into the military and stuff, but did you know, like, early on he was going to be a leader, a general? that kind of guy? Did he boss you
Oh,
around
yeah.
as a child, you know?
Oh yeah, no, now, he's my younger brother, and there was always something. There's 9 of us, and I was just telling you a minute ago before we started, we grew up in a 1,200 square foot house. We were very poor. My dad was an Army Master Sergeant, and when he retired, my mother and father grew up together in Newport or Middletown, Rhode Island, and my mother was one of 2. Her brother had 12 kids, and she had 9. And my uncle gave up his part of my grandmother's house. So anyway, we ended up in this little 1,200 square foot beach house when my dad retired. We were actually over in Europe, and back, came 7 kids. And yeah, we grew up in this little tiny house, but it was right on the ocean. So that being said, I'm the 4th from the top, and Mike is number 6 from the top. And Mike was born on Christmas Day. Okay. So,
Did not know that.
and I am not, Mike is like a person that only comes around. General Mike is a guy that or a human being that only comes around once in a lifetime. And I'm not like him at all. I am not this naturally spiritual person. I was a teacher for 30 years. I think I paid back what I did to my parents by, really raising thousands of teenagers at the high schools that I taught at over the years. But Mike is he was such a warrior, even when he was a little, 10, 12-year-old boy. He saved a young little baby's life at one time. We had paper routes because we always had to earn money. So we all had like a paper route from the time we were like 8 and 9 years old. And Mike was delivering a paper, and he noticed a car with a little boy in it. The brake had released, and he actually jumped into the car. The car was on a steep hill too. It wasn't like just some easy parking lot. This was coming down a horrible hill that we used to, have to deliver papers on, and a street. And so, yeah, I saved a little boy. And then we all were lifeguards down at our big, huge, massive beach that we were at. And Mike was just an amazing lifeguard down there. We used to, be in these lifeguard competitions, and he would just blow everybody away. I mean, he's not this big person, but he's just so mentally strong, and he's not a loud person. He's not a vindictive person. Like when this is, you can tell after 4 years, a lot of these guys that have been out there, involved in whatever the coup and the retaliatory and the horrible nightmare that a lot of people have been targeted from, you don't hear a word negative, nasty thing out of General Mike. He's just like, this is good against evil. We have to see this through. So thank God, even when he was young, my mother noticed something. They were very close. There was a different bond between my mother and my brother Mike than there was with all of the rest of us. We all had our own, relationship with her, of course, but there was something very special. And my mother knew, and I've said this before, and I can't say it enough, she knew that Mike was going to face the worst evil that anyone in this country could ever imagine.
That's
and
amazing.
It would spend a lot, it gives me a chill just saying it, because I'm not this naturally spiritual person. I am just, like I said, I was just a regular high school teacher for 30 years.
Oh, I understand. Yeah.
But knowing, and Mike, of course, was, my mother and father were incredible patriots. So many of my brothers and sisters and my own kids. I have a daughter who's an active duty, I told you earlier, an active duty Navy doctor. I have another daughter who was in the Navy, just got out and married a Navy guy. We have lots of nieces and nephews still active duty. And I have another brother, my brother Charlie, who is an active duty 3-star general that no one ever brings up. We kind of keep it quiet because we didn't want him to be targeted, but now it's great because, everything has come out, the truth has been exposed, and we just kept fighting and fighting because we knew once Mike went on the campaign trail, and you could go back and look at all his videos when he could not let Hillary Clinton win. He knew when he came back, from being overseas and fighting and hunting down the worst evil, in Afghanistan and Iraq, and taking out Osama bin Laden and Zarqawi and all of them. When he came back and took over the DIA, which was supposed to be kind of a downtime, just clean house there, lo and behold, he knew that Obama, his ISIS, calling ISIS the JV team, and then he discovered that Hillary Clinton was using a private server, and then the Iran, giving the Iran terrorists mullahs over $1 billion in cash that they actually used against us, and the Benghazi nightmare, and it just goes on and on. Uranium One deal.
A lot of people, though, but a lot of people don't really know who your brother is. He's never been one to readily take to the spotlight. He does things quietly, and a lot of people don't understand. I mean, he's one of the most patriotic guys in our country. He was tapped. Wasn't he on the list for VP?
He was. He was one of the 5 guys on the list for VP.
It's amazing. It's amazing what has happened to him in the legal system. But what's amazing to me is that people they're not only unaware of the situation that's happened so much, the ones that don't know, but they're unaware of how it affects them in their day-to-day life, and how what they do to Mike, they do to us, and that we are all Mike Flynn, and that this sets that precedent. And one of the things I wanted to touch on, because I'm not the interview guy. I'm not going to sit here and hammer questions and stuff. I love to hear your story. I love to hear you talk about the things that maybe other people may not ask you the questions. I like to hear about the family stuff, but 2 things I do want to touch on. One is the role that Sidney's playing in this whole thing on this last round, I guess we're in, because Cindy has been just a powerhouse. I want you to talk just a little bit about what that has done for the morale for the family.
Sidney, Mike had some bad advice early on, and they actually targeted him in 3 different directions. They targeted him with this unbelievable bogus Logan Act violation. They targeted him. They weaponized the FARA division of the Department of Justice. Okay, there's an actual division called Foreign Agent Registration Act, and this guy named David Loffman ran that. He worked for Sally Yates, so they used that. They used the Department of Justice any way they could, any department they could, to target anybody that was going to get in their way, and their goal is to take out the president. And Mike was the one guy that could protect the president, and he was days away from discovering. I mean, he had Ezra Cohen. If you watch the Plot Against the President, the Lee Smith movie that just came out, there's so much information in there, information that I really didn't always know either, but suspected. But anyway, so Mike just knew he had to, stand up and call out the things that were going on in the Obama administration. And he went around and he was on all the news, all those news stations talking about it. So right now with Sidney, who is, she is the guardian angel of liberty and justice. She is, she's like Wonder Woman, Margaret Thatcher, Joan of Arc, all rolled into one. And
now, was she watching this the whole time? Was she just watching?
No, I'll get back to that. I have so many different things in my head. So many events have happened. So anyway, so Mike was targeted. They used the FARA division under Sally Yates and David Loffman to go after Mike, because they could go after his little tiny company that had only been around for a few months, that he really wasn't involved in, because he was right on the campaign trail. And so he got some bad advice early on to hire. He got a letter from the Department of Justice, this David Loffman, saying, hey, you need to fill out this FARA form, right? And so he goes to the lawyer that he had. Well, who do I get to help me fill out the FARA form? I don't want to do anything wrong. And he hires Covington, the original lawyers, and they filled out the FARA form for him, whatever. And he didn't even need to fill one out. We have since found out. And this is the firm. that Eric Holder was as a partner in still. So it's a nightmare. It's another swamp law firm, just like Lawfare, Brookings Institute. These people all swirl in the swamp. And I've been there so many times. I've been in these courthouses and I've seen them. When you see these people in person, it's very frightening. You're like, wow, these people, they don't care about anything but power. So anyway, my brother Joe and I, we started the Legal Defense Fund right away with our family. My brother Mike didn't want us to do anything like that. He was jumped on the grenade because they were going after young Mike. They would go after anybody in your family, just like they did to the president. They went after all his children. I mean, they almost got Don Jr., but luckily, you know, at that point, they somehow managed to get out of that mess, but they were going after all of our families. So, my brother Joe and I, who created this Legal Defense Fund, because we knew we had to do something, because once you hire a law firm like Covington, you're talking about $150,000 a month. You know, it costs a couple of million way back then. I mean, we're middle class. I'm a retired school teacher. You get, my little pittance that comes every month. And so thank God for all the American patriots in this country that knew, that had listened to Mike throughout the campaign trail and listened to him when he said, Hillary Clinton cannot be the president of the United States. She needs to be locked up. If I had used knowingly used an unsecured server, I would be in Leavenworth right now for 20 years. So anyway, we knew that his original lawyers were bad. My brother Joe and I used to get so furious and talk all the time. He said, first of all, they never defended Mike. They never went on the news. They never let him speak. They never said anything in his defense. And month after month, my brother Joe and I were getting furious. And so Joe made the first contact with Sidney, and she was right away, you know, because we had been watching her talk on Lou Dobbs and a few other places, because she's so incredible. And she knew right away. She knew Weissman, you know, she knew she wrote the book. She's the greatest expert on prosecutorial misconduct in this country. She wrote
amazing.
And
so right then, you know what I'm saying?
So we get Sidney, and so anyway, the other part is that people forget the Mueller investigation was still going on, and they were going after, they threatened to put my nephew in jail for nothing, right, for 20 years, because they can. I mean, if two FBI agents knock on your door right now, who are you going to call? The police? You can't stop them. They're coming in. They got some, rubber stamp judge's search warrant. And that's what they did to my nephew and my brother. They took all their electronics, all their files. So you can't fight the government. It's got unlimited resources, money, and power. So Sidney comes into our lives. Oh, so the Mueller, I call it the special coup. So that whole Mueller thing for 2 years, $45 million, and they knew, now that all this evidence has come out, they knew this was all to take out our president and to General Flynn first, so he couldn't protect the president and expose them. So the Mueller collusion hoax collapses, right? He goes on, and that's when, and Mike had been, we'd been like saying, Mike, you got to get rid of these guys. You got to get rid of these lawyers. He knew that. He knows everything we're all thinking. So he fires them, and it's a surprise. They don't know that he's firing them. He fires them, and Sidney comes in. And once Sidney comes in, she immediately has a list of all the different, she creates a list, and she already had it earlier, I'm sure, of all the different documents that need to be given to her. So she gets all of his original lawyer's documents, and in there she discovers some very sketchy things, which I don't want to say too much about, because with the help of God, David, when this is over and he's got exonerated, some people talk about getting a pardon and all that. We don't want a pardon. He didn't commit the crime. The crime's
No.
against him. Now, if he gets exonerated, then we go back and we go after these guys. If he's pardoned, we can't go after them. So we need General Mike to be exonerated. And really, it's places like your show and all the different shows and all, I mean, because you can't trust, there's nothing on the fake news media. They aren't reporting anything. It's frightening, actually, that they they're the enemy of the people, like the president.
It is very frightening. And that's the thing about.
That's how Sidney came into our life, just so I can finish that little statement. And
no, you're perfect on that. And Sidney, that's what I'm saying. It's such a breath of fresh air because, I've been working with a couple of friends, for a few years, just the behind the scenes stuff, the support things that, nobody knows. We're not on the news. We're not doing a big broadcast. We just try to share information and gather information. And that's actually, Scopoliti.
Pat. Well, that's where all the digital soldiers, and the digital warriors. I mean, that's where General Mike, I was telling you, he's not a vindictive person, but he just knows how to lead people.
He's our media guy. I mean, he's our tech guy. People don't realize that. He's a smart guy. He knows what's going on. And it's just like, the court being able to grab all of his information and his computers or whatever, but they can't get Hillary's. I mean, it just shows.
Yeah, I know.
Thing is, it's like, it's very sad.
Yeah.
So tell me, I know that, I know we had this set up, a little interview time and all that stuff, but for me, like I said, it's the joy of being able to meet you and talk to you and hear a little bit more of your story. But the truth is, I thought we would be in person, but you couldn't be on because you feel like sharing that with us, why you couldn't join us today. Where have you been today? What have you been doing?
I'm in San Diego and I surf every day. And now that I'm retired, I'm living this great life. And I go down and I surf, and it was absolutely like 80 degrees and like perfect surf. We've been lifelong surfers. All of us do. It sounds kind of goofy, but
no. The thing is, you said you grew up right there next to the beach.
Yeah. So I'm in
brothers and sisters.
Yeah. So it's great. It's just great exercise. When you get in the ocean, like I know so many of you guys that listen to this, when you're in the ocean, it's like time stands still, and you just don't even think about anything else. So we work 24/7 on, we've been doing this for, every day for 4 years. And so this is our outlet. And we always, throughout this, it's really been like people say, how did you guys survive this? Well, don't feel sorry for us because this was meant to be. This was General Mike's destiny. There's no doubt about it for him to be.
I've said this to people before, and I don't think everybody gets it. But there are people that are alive, like your brother, like a lot of us, that are willing to do what it takes. And, I do activism. I put myself in harm's way. A lot of times people say, how can you do that? And look, it costs me money. Sometimes Antifa tries to hurt us, stuff like that. I get it, but
be careful.
Sure, but the thing is, look at our forefathers. When they put their whole livelihood, their future, their reputation, and our soldiers. I mean, I have not lost an arm or a leg. I've lost some money, but it's worth it to put the points on the board.
We're fighting in our own country right now against domestic terrorism, just like you would be in Afghanistan or Iraq, David. So
exactly
you're right. And thank God there's guys like you that are willing to do that, to protect.
Hey, I'm just trying to get people to do it. I'm just the cheerleader saying, come on, but it's example. I want to get out there and do what I can, but I can't do it by myself. And I need thousands of people that are just willing to get off the couch. And, this whole thing I've noticed with, Scopoliti and Tamerlee and this group, is that the social media can be very powerful. The hashtags, everything that we can do to raise awareness. And I think a lot of just pushing that information and having it compiled on the website that they put together so beautifully.
I know,
And
we never would have survived, David. We couldn't, Flynn's, General Mike, and I was telling Tamara the other day, talking on her show, it's about $150,000 to $300,000 a month. Can you imagine? We are like regular, Mike lost everything the first, year. And that's when we put the Legal Defense Fund together, which has been like this rallying place for all the patriots. It's, but we never, every once in a while, Joe and I, we talk all the time, but we'll just stop and go, how did we ever survive all these years? Here we are going into, it's October, it's almost September 2020. It's because everybody helped us. And it wasn't no big shots. A couple of times I had some goofy calls from some big shot, and I'm like, we're just so grateful for prayers and support. And if you have $5, well, that's, to keep Sidney going. And because the first lawyers, they just took everything. They just didn't even care, and they didn't defend them. So thank God we've outlasted them. And that's what we always would say. We'd go, well, time is painful, but it's been on our side, and Sidney.
And Mike's a general. I mean, he is the ultimate soldier. He's willing to give his physical life. So people don't understand, him giving his fortune, him giving to fix what's broken is worth the sacrifice, but it has to be fixed for it to be worth it. And we need all the voices that we can to, spread the message. And especially, I want to see him, on the campaign trail. I would love to see him out, able to make speeches and things, because there's so much power in that. Well, tell me, what do you got planned for this weekend? What are you doing this coming weekend?
I'm gonna go to the Patriot Party. I can't wait because to see Juanita Broderick and Tamara and you, David, of course, and JT Wild, and the young guy.
Sheriff Joe's gonna stop by.
I just can't believe, and Carrie Donovan, who's been some of these people have been with us since the very beginning. Like
Gene Ho, his photographer.
Oh my God! So
have you heard his whole story? Have you ever heard his testimony and everything?
No, I haven't.
You really need to look that up. Gene Ho has an amazing story about how he got into being Trump's photographer and how he stayed with him and how he became a Christian and the whole 9 yards.
I know he knows a lot of special, intimate moments for the president too. So right now, I mean, this is the home stretch, and President Trump will crush Biden. There's no doubt in my mind. He's going to crush him. This is like, and then that's why my nephew wrote a letter the other day, and he's just like, hang on, we're going to have another 4 years and we're going to end this. We will never be a socialist country. That is never going to happen. And Trump is going to crush this election, and people stay positive, stay the course. And this weekend is just like, it just gives you an energy boost,
It does.
There's nothing like there's nothing like being with family and friends. And I think of you guys as the Patriot family, So
and that's what we want, Barbara. We want a bigger family, and that's what And so my kind of thing, the stop hate guy and all that stuff. We try to tell everybody, the people on the left have been tricked. I mean, half the people on the right have been tricked. I mean, it's just one of those things, and it never does good to rub that in somebody's face. You have to have some compassion and some love.
You do, and you can't get, you can't get into any back and forth with, some people are just so brainwashed. It's so sad. All you can do, anytime, everybody, my friend, people around me know who I am, so they don't confront me. But if they want to talk, sometimes I'll have somebody come up and they just want to discuss President Trump or whatever, and they'll want to make a dig, and I just go, you just have to gently say, I just disagree. You don't get into shouting or ugliness. You just go, I just disagree. And then of course you can rattle all you want. off about the good things he's done, but some of them are so brainwashed by CNN and Rachel Maddow. I mean, it's so sad because it's such an angry, ugly news. It's so, I don't know how they can listen to it all the time. The great thing about all of the deplorables, is our sense of humor. I mean,
That's exactly right. Well,
that's
we all
what's
know
helped.
the left can't meme. I
They've
mean,
got
they
no
have,
sense of they've got no sense of humor. They're all so angry. So I look at what's helped the Flynns survive. It's been faith and patriotism and family, and then our sense of humor. When we would be in our darkest moments or feeling down, one of us or all of us would send something funny to the other, and just get us all laughing again, because it's like, wait a minute, take a step back, take a breath. And that's what the never Trumpers, Trump derangement syndrome, the angry mainstream media people, they just can't, there's no sense of humor. They're so dark. And that's where General Mike always says, we're really fighting some evil here, some people with some dark, evil
it's not left
spirits,
and right. That's right. It's not left and right. It's not red and blue. It's good and
Yeah.
evil.
It's
And
good
this
and evil.
spiritual warfare is just real deal. And
Yeah.
I've told people this 100 times if I've said it once. Until we put the cross next to the flag again,
Yeah.
this is a holy war we won't win. We have to get our priorities straight. I'm so encouraged to hear from you, not
Thank
only
you.
the story, the journey, but the journey of faith, that God's got your back, that your family is there to support and protect, and just the in and outs of what's going on with that. I love the fact that you come from just humble beginnings, that you're real people that stay in touch with each other, and you put your priorities in your family and your God and your country. I mean, that is the model citizenry that we should be preaching and teaching in our schools. We're getting back to the civics again, hopefully, with our
Yeah.
president. We're seeing some good moves for the
Well,
country,
thank
but
you for saying that. I mean, we just hope the Flynn family can show the rest of the country that, it's so important to have your faith and your family, faith and family. And of course, what comes with that is patriotism. So we're not Democrats, we're not Republicans, we're patriots,
amen. I
where
love that.
that's where we're all at right now. The patriots are going to take this and see this horrible nightmare through and keep President Trump in. He's going to crush them. There's no doubt in my mind. He's going to crush Biden.
Excited about that. I am really excited about that, because when you take all the voter fraud and all that and just
Oh
say
yeah,
you couldn't do anything, we
yeah.
outnumber.
I mean, Vice President Pence did a great job, but he didn't even have to do anything. Kamala Harris is the most unlikable person. Thank God they did a debate, because that just destroyed the Biden campaign. I mean,
I
she is
completely agree with you.
so
She
awful.
was really just as
Why?
bad as
She's just,
Joe
she just,
Biden. Oh,
she,
oh,
you can
just,
see she was in over her head. She has no business even. I mean, what
but it
fools
was
would say?
comical though. It was
I know.
comical, and that's
What
what's sad about it. That's the best that they have.
I
So
know.
they've been picking on on Pence forever,
I
and
know.
he's nobody, and he handed it to her.
He was so great because he was so calm and respectful, and it was just like he was just doing these little like low, like he was just like a boxer giving like little soft, like little
Yeah,
jab the whole
yeah,
time.
yeah.
I mean,
They add up,
and
don't they? They add
he
up.
let her, she imploded. But we all expected that, because if you watch the Kavanaugh hearings, you're like, wow, this woman is just full of anger and rage, and she has nothing. Like she has nothing to offer. There's no strategy. And he got her lying about, packing the court and fracking. I mean, he got her.
Well, that just shows you the control that the media has over the people, in the fact that has been a plagiarist his whole career. He's a liar. He's a thief. He's said bad, horrible things about the black community.
And you ain't black.
Kamala is not even an African American. She's Jamaican and Indian and all these other things. I mean, all these plights and struggles that they say they're a part of and helping and all this stuff, it's all lies. And people are so programmed that they believe it all. And that's what really fight and
So
invite.
it's exciting really because we're gonna see a massive Trump victory. There's no doubt in my mind. And, and now I wish Barr and Durham, like if you wanted to just talk about that for a few minutes,
Mhm.
those guys, there's so many crimes that were committed against General Flynn. I was just going through a video of Durham, of Barr, that when he interviewed with Catherine Herridge, saying, that they entrapped him, like so.
Oh,
You're
oh,
entrapped as a national security advisor. If you're like Biden unmasked General Mike January 12th. I mean, Trump is now the president, and along with 30 other people unmasking him. But the one that sticks out in my mind is January 12th. That's a fact. He unmasked Mike. And so, they were out to get him right from the beginning. And it goes right to the top. It's Obama, Biden, and they all should go to jail, David. Like,
absolutely. And that's what the people want. People want repercussions. People want convictions. People want people to go to jail.
we do.
Things. We would go to jail.
Yep, we keep demanding them. We cannot stop with using our voices. That's another thing Mike has been saying, and a lot of people. No, silent no more. We must constantly use our voices and communicate with each other and cheer each other on and keep each other going, give each other the strength to keep going. That's why something like the Patriot Party this weekend, another moment where we can say, we got this, we keep fighting, we keep moving forward, and that's how we'll succeed. That's how we'll get accountability, because there has to be accountability or it's going to happen again. I mean, the greatest hero out of all this, one of the greatest ones, was Devin Nunes. I mean, for him what he went through in his family, a lot of people don't realize his family went through a nightmare too, because, Shifty Schiff and all those awful, evil characters. But, all you have to do is compare the Patriots to this evil group of people that they don't want to lose power, and they're about to lose power forever. So it's a great time to be alive.
It is. It's so exciting.
I'm so sorry for the Flynn's.
What are you talking about?
Just keep supporting us. Keep praying for General Mike, and Sidney, of course. Thank God, because Sidney, she will not stop. And now the crazy thing, just think about it. She has the Department of Justice and Sidney are now the defense team. I mean, how crazy is this in the history of this country? Nothing like this has ever happened.
We've never seen a judge like Sullivan do what he's done against the better judgment of all his peers. I mean, it's just ridiculous, the whole thing. So it's about time to get to the
He's so corrupt. The whole appellant thing, that whole judiciary. Well, the scary thing is, though, the judiciary is trying to usurp the executive right now, and that's the DC appellate court. So here it is. We're praying again, and I'll stop now. We've got Amy Barrett. Right now, by I think by the end of next week, she'll be confirmed. So we're gonna ram her right through. She's gonna be on the Supreme Court. There's no stopping it. I mean, guys like Romney can't prevent it. So this is going to be a huge moment. President Trump is immune to COVID. I mean, it's so great. He's immune to it. He's going to be given his blood, so people are going to get President Trump's blood. I'd like to be the first person to get that. So, get some of Trump's COVID immunity blood, and have that. I mean, talk about like being able to defend yourself through a nuclear meltdown. It's so great. I'm really optimistic about everything, and because of everyone's support too. We
need that optimism, though. We need that spark, and that's the thing. Like you said about General Flynn, he never got down in the mouth. I mean, things get to everybody. Let me tell you, they get to you, they get you down. But if you don't let it show, that's half of the battle. And he is such a fighter. That's why I'm so proud.
Great. And he leads us too, David. He's leading us.
Example.
He's led all of the family through this whole process. He has what he would say to us. Okay, guys. It was really we were his squad. It was a Flynn squad, and
he's so fortunate to have y'all as his group and have such a family.
they didn't realize they messed with the wrong family, like they,
Exactly.
we were going to just fold. They didn't even know what hit. They didn't even know what he had, they didn't
And
even
that's
know
what
who.
we all need. That's what we all need. And that's what we have to be there for each other. So, hey,
Yep, that's
I'm
right.
glad that I can say you're a part of my family now. And I
Thanks,
look
David. Thank you. Me too.
absolutely, absolutely. This
Can't
could be a
wait.
fun weekend.
Yep, can't wait to see you guys. I'll see you guys in a few days, and yeah, there's gonna be music and people
Yeah,
speaking, and I mean, a person to go listen to is Juanita Broderick. She's
I'm
awesome.
so happy. Yeah.
She's another angel, a warrior, So she's great. I can't wait to see all the people, and Carrie. I think she's going to interview me. I said, Carrie, let's just have somebody up there asking me questions so you can, because I can go on and on. If you even started me
Oh,
on
sure. Oh,
names,
sure.
I mean, I could talk
Yeah.
about Panica, Bruce Orr, Baker. I could
Well,
talk
that's the thing that they didn't
about the
take
White
into
House.
consideration. So when they attacked Mike and they attacked you in turn and all your siblings, y'all aren't silly people. Y'all are smart. You're a teacher. I mean, y'all are going to study these things. So you probably have the equivalent of a law degree or two just from
Yeah,
being a
I
part of
could
this.
pass the bar, I think, right now. I mean, we had to think about it. We couldn't trust anybody but ourselves. We had
Yeah.
to become our own investigators, and not, I mean, in the inner family, but it was, thank God for all, again, of the digital soldiers. There's so
Yeah.
many guys out there. I don't want to say names because there's thousands and
Oh,
thousands
there's so many. There's so
that have
many.
written threads and sent us these threads of information. And so you a document, right? An 80-page document, and
Yes. That people
cut it
didn't
loose.
do.
And it's
Yeah.
like people would find like one sentence that was all we needed, to then dig more. And of course, Sydney, she's relentless. She doesn't sleep either. She's just marathon. She's a marathon. She just, if I text her, well, none of us sleep, but here's somebody that has to write all. Sydney's got to write all this stuff and put it together.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
amazing that the evil that she has stood up against is incredible. But here we are. We've
Yep.
got the Department of Justice working to defend General Flynn now. It's crazy,
I
but
love it. I love it. So how do we continue to support? How do my followers and everybody that's going to see
um,
these reposts, how do people still support you?
well, we still, of course, we're not done. So hopefully this is over soon. We still have the Legal Defense Fund, and of course it's Mike Flynn Legal Defense Fund, and there's a PO box, and there's a way you can donate there, but any amount is great. And also we love letters. General Mike has saved every single letter he's received. He's got massive Tupperware containers in his basement. And I'm like, what are you going to do? Because every weekend we read the letters too.
I
So
love that.
I get all the mail each week, and then I go through everything, and sometimes I call everybody and I'll read the letters out loud, and then I ship them off to Mike because I'm in San Diego and he's on the East Coast, right? He's on a travel ban. I mean,
Right.
this guy
Yeah.
had him for 8 months or a couple of years. So anyway, he has saved everything. He always responds back. And he just, after we read stuff, we just go, oh my God, thank God for these amazing people in our lives. They're, so our big dream is after this is over, we'd like to go around the country, all of us as a big family group, and thank everybody. We just want to pull up to somebody's house in their driveway and have a beer or a cup of coffee, whatever time of day, or both,
Yes.
and just
Yes.
say thank you, thanks for
Yeah.
just being there for us, because
Well,
we know.
maybe I can help you with that. Maybe we can get some kind of little traveling rally together, just to go around and say
That's
both ways, because we appreciate everything that he's done for us. I know he appreciates what we do. We just
yeah,
hope that he gets the message enough from us.
he
We
does,
really
he
love it.
does, he
Yeah.
does, and it's kept his strength too. It is really the letters and the prayers and the messages. You can tell like that has given him so much strength, and he communicates with people all the time. So, I mean, he's a character. I'll see that, I'll see somebody post a copy of a message that he sent them, and it's like, oh my God, he communicates with people 24/7. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
amazing.
It's just, we're just regular people, and you would have done this, you would have done this if it happened to your family. And we never.
That's absolutely right. I just hope that I would have had the support that you had, and the funds. I mean, the fact that, so usually nowadays when patriots get caught in these situations, they're squelched on, all their
Yeah.
social media and Instagram, or they can't get their
I know.
message out.
They shut them down. Yeah.
So we have to find ways around this. I think we're working on some of those ways. So
Yeah. Well, these podcasts are, and you should be proud of yourself for putting yourself out there to just make a voice, have a voice, and allow people to pass on, real stories, the real facts about what's happening. Because of course we can't even trust Fox News anymore. They're done. I think I watch maybe Tucker, and Hannity, and of course Maria Bartiromo.
sure.
And of course, I don't know what we do without.
But everything's changed, hasn't it? You just
Yep,
don't know.
it's really changed. So
I
anyway.
just want to hear the person's mouth. That's the best way to get it. I'm not
Yep.
going through somebody else. I'm listening to
Nope.
you. So
Right to
that's
the
the way I like it.
right to the person's life and the facts that they have. So, well, I really appreciate talking to you guys, and thank you and everything. And just keep us in your prayers. But we've got this. We got this election. There's no doubt. We're going to crush it. He's going to crush this. And then
I'm very excited about that because it's time. It's time we all stand together and we all get this done and rid, our country of this corruption. And it touches so many things and so many aspects of our lives. And we've just become accustomed to it, complacent to it, unaware of it, the way it's snuck into our life intentionally. So I'm glad to have, team players like you that understand, get the big picture, because so many people just don't. And it's amazing to see that,
never give up, never ever give up. Keep fighting, keep moving, keep talking, keep sharing what you know, and not intimidated.
This is keep fighting.
Yep.
That is the first thing I wrote down about this interview. Was the very first thing.
Oh, thanks, David. Thank you. Thank you. Well, God bless you guys. God bless you, and thanks for doing this. And God bless America, and God bless the president and General Mike and Sidney, as they lead this unbelievable, courageous charge to clean out this corruption that we now have learned about. We didn't know all this was going on for years. Clinton's and then Obama. I mean, it's insane. So it's almost going to be over here. Give it we get through the election, and then we're going to clean this mess out permanently. We're going to, maybe Sidney will become the director of the FBI, and Rick Grinnell, he needs to become either the FBI director or something in there, because he is relentless as well. He's a total warrior. Just so
we
blessed.
definitely need people like that right up in the top, that fight for people, not for themselves.
We need people in those jobs that people can trust, that we trust. Right now, we don't trust the FBI. We don't trust the DOJ. It's broken. The CIA, Mike said, they ought to just shut the CIA down. It's been led by so many corrupt directors. You had Brennan, you had Woolsey, you had Hayden, Morrell. These guys are horrible. They're so corrupt. All those years. And that was one of the things Mike wanted to audit. He knew there was billions of dollars being wasted. I mean, they have all these sources. They were just throwing money into any corrupt or whatever thing they were doing. And Mike was like, we got to end this right now. He says it, he'll say it. And soon he'll be able to talk and say, people will say, what do you think of the CIA? And I know he'd say, just shut it down. Now it's Gina Haspel, who refused to turn over documents to the president. It's ridiculous. So anyway, okay, well, I'll see you this weekend.
Barbara, it was great to meet you. Appreciate your time. I look forward to seeing you this weekend, and we will talk to you then. God bless you.
Thanks, David.
All right, thank you.